What's happening, my Jacked family? Coach Scott here, jackedafter40.com. Today's video, we're going to talk about the difference between workouts for men over 40 versus workouts for bros in their 20s. And I'd love to hear from you down in the comment section below. Let me know how your training is different now that you're over 40 compared to how you used to train when you were in your 20s. Difference number one is strength progressions. When we were training in our 20s, it seemed like we could add weight to the bar on a weekly basis. And when it came to the bench press, I remember how excited I was going from lifting 1 plate to 2 plates to 3 plates for reps, and that progression seemed to happen in a pretty short period of time in my early 20s. And now that I'm over 40, I haven't added weight to the bar in a very long time. I'm actually lifting much less than I used to when I was in the 20s. I don't even think of trying to lift 315 for any kind of reps. I'd say the heaviest I usually get with the bench press is usually around 225. I kind of like that 185 to 225 for a little bit higher repetitions. It just feels better for me, and that's a common theme that I hear from a lot of my fellow bros over 40. A lot of my fellow physique coaches over 40 have the same thing. We find that actually lifting the lighter weight, keeping it lighter, we're not beat up anymore, and our physiques have improved for the better. I'd love to hear if that's the same situation for you, same experience for you. And I just find that there's a lot better ways to progress with your training rather than just trying to add weight to the bar. We can't continue adding weight to the bar indefinitely for forever. It's just we have our strength limits, and for us guys who are focused on physique training, it's definitely going to be a lot harder. If you're focused on just powerlifting and heavy lifting all the time, yeah, there's a chance that you could keep adding weight to the bar over time, but it's going to take a long time to add 5 pounds to your bench press compared to when you were in your 20s. And I just find for most of us who are physique focused, aesthetics, looking our best, feeling our best, I would just look for other ways to experience progress in the gym other than adding weight to the bar. You could increase reps a little bit. You could focus on improving the quality of your form, which I find is best. I think that's something we can always continue to improve upon, enhancing our mind-muscle connection, just getting better with the movement, feeling it exactly where we're supposed to feel it. I find those are the best ways to progress. And of course, progressing with volume is one of my favorite forms of progression when it comes to a training plan. Difference number two is that for the young bros training in their 20s, it's a good idea for you to incorporate some heavy lifting in your workout plan, working in that 1 to 5 rep range to make sure that you are working all muscle fiber types and that you're building a strong foundation that's going to serve you for years to come. Now, for us men over 40, I don't recommend typically going under 6 repetitions. I find when you start lifting heavier loads in that lower rep range, it just beats us down, really tough on our joints and makes it tougher for us to recover from. So that's definitely a big difference. And I noticed that experience teaches us a lot as we're going through our years of training. For a lot of us men over 40, we found that our bodies are responding better to lighter weight, higher repetitions with some exercises. Like for myself personally, I don't enjoy loading my back with a heavy bar and doing squats. And I find my legs don't respond as well to the lower rep ranges when it comes to squats or a lot of different other leg exercises. I find when you get into the 10 to 20 rep range, that's when my legs respond the best. It takes a lot of the strain off of my joints, my back, and it steers a lot of the tension onto the target muscles, which I find to be a lot more effective. So that's a big difference, is not working in that lower rep range and really finding the rep ranges that suit us best, that feel our best, and allow us to stay in this game for the long term. Difference number 3 is that change is more important for us men over 40 compared to when we were training in our 20s. When we were training in our 20s, we could milk a workout program for 12, 16, sometimes 20 weeks and not adapt, not hit a plateau, still make great muscle gains and strength gains throughout that entire time. Whereas now over 40, it's more important for us to kind of change up our workout workout plans, subtle changes like swap an exercise in and out, change up an intensity technique, and make sure that we are increasing our volume on a monthly basis at least. And in order to spark that growth response, in order to challenge our body in a unique way. So I'm not talking about muscle confusion where you have to do a different workout every freaking time. No, you need to cause that adaptation response. So sticking with the program for a good 4 weeks and adapting to that plan, and then making subtle changes while still keeping some key components, some key lifts in that program that you're able to progress on over the course of 12, 16 weeks. But making subtle little changes to not only challenge your body in different ways, but to keep it fun as well. Difference number 4 is that men over 40 need to give more effort during their workouts than young bros training in their 20s. And that is the complete opposite of a lot of the nonsense advice that you hear out there when it comes to workouts for men over 40, suggesting that we need to train less, not push ourselves as hard. That is just lazy freaking advice. The thing is, we have adapted to our training over the years, and in order to make progress, we need to find ways to safely and intelligently train harder, to give more effort, and really utilize techniques such as drop sets, extended rest pause sets, even partial reps at the end of some sets in a safe, controlled manner. Slow negatives on the very last rep of a set. There's so many different training techniques that we can utilize in our training program, and kind of swapping them out from month to month. I wouldn't be using a whole bunch. I'd just stick to one different advanced training technique per monthly program, but it keeps training exciting and fun. It challenges your body in unique ways and really allows you to work muscle fibers that often go untouched. So making sure that not a muscle fiber goes untouched with your program, but it's a great way to take a set beyond failure in a safe and effective manner that's not going to beat you down. It's going to still keep the tension on the target muscle. Difference number 5 is that it's more important than ever to design a workout plan that's built around optimizing recovery when you're training over 40 compared to when you're training in your 20s. And a big part of that comes from periodizing your training volume, beginning with a low volume training phase that allows the fatigue to dissipate, your body to fully recover, and your muscles to resensitize to the stimulus that you're about to put it through in the months to come. And that's a big reason why you hear a lot of positive feedback from people who buy into that common advice that you see out there that men over 40 should be training less. The big reason you hear that is that it's usually coming from guys who have been training with super high volume for years and decades even, and they're finally getting to the point where they're training less. They're going through a low volume training phase, and they're experiencing that benefit of reduced fatigue and fully recovering and resensitizing their muscles, and finally giving their joints a break and like, wow, this feels amazing. But when you strategically plan your training throughout the year to incorporate these low volume training phases where you then build it up to a kind of a low moderate volume training phase, then a moderate training phase, and then a high volume training phase, and even a super high volume training phase where you cause your body to kind of overreach, and then you pull it back again. You go through a low volume phase and start it all over again. That's an intelligent way to structure your programming that allows you to recover. You get to that point where if you're training with high volume, you're like, I'm not recovering quite as well. You push it for that month training phase where, yeah, you're not going to be recovering as well, but it serves a purpose. You're trying to overreach and challenge your body in a way that it hasn't been challenged before, and then you pull it back so you can fully recover. So planning that all in. So you have phases where you're recovering easy from your workouts, and you have phases where you're not recovering quite as easy. So you go through the kind of ebb and flow with your overall training plan. Another key to optimizing recovery with your training plan comes down to how you spread out the volume throughout the week. So when you're following a low volume training phase, you could train a muscle group once per week or twice per week and recover really, really well from it. But as you start to increase that training volume and you're going to more higher volume training phases, it becomes more and more important to spread that volume out. So train that muscle group 2, 3, maybe even 5 times per week to allow you to handle that kind of training volume without beating yourself down. I love to follow an approach where I'm going to hit a muscle group a little bit harder with one workout, and then next time I just stimulate it a little bit. I find that really helps with recovery, and it sparks that growth response at the same time. And another key to optimizing your recovery with a workout plan is to make sure that you're not grinding out any reps and you go with a last set, best set approach. If you are going to failure with each and every set and you're forcing out reps, you have your workout partner helping you with the last rep of every single set, your recovery is going to take a hell of a lot longer and you are going to beat yourself down pretty darn quick. Whereas if you leave a rep in the tank for those first 2 sets and the final set you train to momentary muscular failure, you're not grinding out that rep, and you can utilize a set extending technique such as a nice slow negative on that last rep, or even doing the techniques like the drop sets and extended rest pause sets, partial reps, all that stuff. That is a much safer approach that is also going to help you recover a heck of a lot faster from your workouts. Difference number 6 is that men over 40 have to be a lot smarter with our warm-ups and workup sets. It doesn't have to take long. Doing a warm-up that's 3 to 5 minutes is usually more than enough. If you're doing upper body workouts, doing like a band over back, band pull apart, maybe even some light face pulls. If you're doing the lower body, some wall hip flexor stretching, some dynamic pigeon, just some leg swings to kind of loosen up the hip joint. That is very, very important to just get our joints moving and get some blood flowing to them. Then when it comes to especially your bigger lifts, making sure that you do multiple workup sets, maybe 2, 3, or 4 workup sets that are lighter, far from failure. You're just doing a few reps to get a feel for the movement, get a feel for the weight, and then get into your 3 working sets. Again, that is really going to help us reduce the risk of injury, also help us get a lot more out of our training session as well, and again, help us recover better too. And difference number 7 comes down to results, not just strength gains, but muscle gains as well. When we were training in our 20s, we may be able to gain 1 to 2 pounds of muscle per month, whereas in our 40s, we're kind of lucky if we can gain 1 to 2 pounds of muscle per year. So we really have to temper our expectations, and it really becomes more important for us to focus on the process, having fun with our workouts, enhancing our mind-muscle connection, finding those different fun ways to progress rather than just focusing on the load on the bar and the muscle gains themselves. If you're like weighing yourself each and every day, wondering if you're gaining muscle, it can be incredibly frustrating because it is a slow and steady process. And I mean, if you're experiencing a 1/4 pound muscle gain per month, that's fantastic, but it's going to be kind of negligible. It's going to be really tough to kind of monitor that with the scale weight because our weight fluctuates up and down. So you're much better off just kind of focusing on the process, focusing on nailing your daily nutrition each and every day and kind of letting the outcome take care of itself. So results are a lot different, but you can, rather than waiting for the bigger outcome of, all right, I gained a few pounds this month, and celebrating that, you can celebrate the mini victories each and every day. Celebrating feeling a rep, feeling a set better than you ever did before. And just having a strong mind-muscle connection and feeling joint-friendly, pain-free is all things that you can celebrate each and every day. So really encourage us men over 40 to focus on the process results more than the outcome results. Next, I recommend you watch the best full body workout for men over 40 and the best body part split for men over 40. It'll give you greater insight into how to structure your workout plan when you're progressing your training volume. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. And drop a comment down below to share your insights. If you know a fellow bro who would benefit from watching this video, do me a favor and share it with them. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, do so and have yourself an absolutely amazing day.